Good morning and welcome back to the Mission Control Houston and the International Space Station Flight Control Room, where the flight control team is getting ready for today's undocking of the Soyuz MS-07 in preparation for its landing in Kazakhstan at 7:40 a.m. Central Time this morning. Expedition 55 crew members Scott Tingle of NASA and Norishige Kanai of the Japan Aerospace Exploration Agency, as well as Anton Shkaplerov of Roscosmos, are all in their Soyuz and have closed hatches between it and the Rosvet module, which it's been docked to since their arrival at the space station on December 19th. That hatch closure occurred at 1:02 a.m. Central Time as the space station was flying 253 miles above Taiwan. And since then, the station has maneuvered into undocking attitude, and the crew has worked through a series of leak checks and other preparations. They should be right on time for that scheduled 4:16 a.m. undocking. And that's just 28 minutes from now. Here in Mission Control Houston, Flight Director Scott Stover is leading the team for today's activity, and alongside him is Capcom Leslie Ringo. The team here has been working through their part of preparing the space station for the Soyuz undocking, and will be having their go, no-go poll for the undocking a little later. And in Russia, the flight control team in Moscow is being led tonight by Svetlana Mironova. And finally, in Kazakhstan, a number of officials and vehicles are standing by in preparation for this morning's landing. 8 Mi-8 helicopters are on their way from Karaganda, Kazakhstan, to the primary landing site southeast of Zhezkazgan, with the television equipment that will provide us views of the landing and the inflatable medical tent that the crew members will be taken to immediately afterward. 2 more helicopters will be ready about 250 miles away in the area where touchdown would take place if a ballistic entry occurred. And then a final 2 will loiter midway between those 2 sites. Also on board the helicopters headed to the primary site are several NASA representatives, including Deputy Space Station Program Manager Dan Hartman, astronaut Kjell Lindgren, Flight Surgeon Rainer Evenhauser, and NASA Landing Team Coordinator Chad Rowe, as well as NASA spokesperson Gary Jordan and NASA photographer Bill Ingalls. And 6 all-terrain vehicles have also been deployed for landing, as well as 3 airplanes that serve as a flying command center. Airplanes will provide direct communication with the crew and relay those communications back to Moscow. Weather for this morning's forecast is supposed to be very nice, with clear skies and temperatures in the 60s, as well as winds of 23 miles per hour. For those following along with this morning's activity from home, thanks so much for joining us. And if you have any questions this morning as you're watching the activities, we'd like to try and answer them for you. We'll be taking questions on social media, and you can send yours in using the hashtag AskNASA. We'll try and get to a few of those over the course of both this portion of the day's events and also during our landing coverage a little later. Again, both on the ground and on orbit, everybody is getting into place for today's 7:40 a.m. Central Time landing. And that work was set off this morning by the closing of the hatches between the Soyuz and the International Space Station. This is some video that we recorded during that activity, seeing one of the remaining Expedition 56 crew members, Oleg Artemyev, closing the hatch on the space station side after his Expedition 55 crewmates Scott Tingle, Norishige Kanai, and Anton Skaplarov have already got into the Soyuz on the other side. In addition to Artemiev, the Expedition 56 crew members being left behind include Commander Drew Feustel and Flight Engineer Ricky Arnold, both of NASA. Again, that hatch opening, which you're seeing video from here, hatch closing rather, took place at 1:02 a.m. Central Time when the station was 253 miles above Taiwan. At the time, the team on the ground in Moscow caught up some final good lucks and congratulations on job well done to the crew who is now on their way home. And here now a live view of that Soyuz with the crew safely inside and getting ready for an undocking coming up in 23 minutes now. With the hatches closed and leak checks performed between the Soyuz and the space station, undocking is the next milestone on the checklist that will lead to landing, and that's coming up in about 20 minutes now. Following the undocking, which you're seeing here in some animation, the Soyuz will put some distance between it and the space station with 2 short engine firings, one 3 minutes later for 8 seconds, and a second after that, or a second one 1 minute after that for 15 seconds. That will set the Soyuz on course to be in place at 6:47 a.m. Central Time for its deorbit burn. That engine firing will last 4 minutes and 40 seconds, and then about 20 minutes after that, the Soyuz descent module with the crew inside will separate from its other two parts and get into the right orientation for the re-entry into the Earth's atmosphere with the heat shield pointed first. And then following that, the parachutes will begin to open, first with two pilot chutes that will pull out a drogue chute that will begin the initial slowdown, and then the final main chute that gets it into a safe speed for landing. Just moments before it does land, you'll see those soft engine firing, soft landing engines fire as well.
Romana. So Moscow, yes, radio.
Moscow, this is S31.
Yes.
Go ahead.
While we've got a little time, we're going to take some questions from viewers who are sending in questions as they watch the coverage. This one coming from Twitter from Earthling Manage, asking, how does NASA decide where to land the spacecraft upon reentry? And because this is a Soyuz spacecraft, it's actually a Roscosmos vehicle, so they will actually decide where to land, but they always land in Kazakhstan, which is chosen in part because it has vast areas of unpopulated land. So we can land in the middle of the desert without worrying about falling on anything that would be damaged by it. So we land in the middle of very sparsely populated areas for safety. Next question, also from Twitter, coming from JTTV, asking, does the Soyuz capsule get reused? And it does not. It has been this design has been in use for many years, but the actual capsules themselves do not get reused.
Down to 92.
And finally, one last question from Twitter.
Right away. We noticed it right away on the display. I had TVS display, and maker was on IP display, and started checking.
There it is. One last question from Indian 007 Rayam. After undocking from the space station, how long will they burn the jets? And for they'll actually have a couple of engine firings to separate the Soyuz from the space station, put a little distance between them, and those will last just a few seconds apiece, 8 seconds and 15 seconds respectively. But then the final engine firing that deorbits the Soyuz will take 4 minutes and 40 seconds, and that will be performed with the engines firing into the direction that the Soyuz is traveling, basically putting on the brakes and then dropping it down back out of orbit so that it will begin re-entering the Earth's atmosphere. Keep sending in questions using the hashtag AskNASA on social media, and we'll try and answer a few more before we are done with this portion of the show and get back to even more after that during our landing coverage.
And what about the rest of the parameters on IP? Are they nominal? Yes, 199 is O2 partial pressure. Spherical tanks 1 and 2, the pressure is 170 and 171 respectively. And the rest of the parameters are nominal. And what about MRM and SO1? Is it the same as before? SSAE. Well, stand by 1, Anton. We're going to find out. Okay, copy.
Seeing a live view of the Soyuz MS-07, which has 3 crew members from Expedition 55 crew inside, ready to back away from the space station and start making their way home. They've been in space for 168 days, and it's been a busy 168 days. Crew members inside are Scott Tingle, Norishika Kanai, and Anton Shkaplerov. And over the course of their 168 days in space, they saw the arrival of 4 other vehicles at the space station. 1 SpaceX Dragon cargo vehicle, 1 Russian Progress resupply ship, and 1 orbital ATK Cygnus cargo vehicle, as well as 1 other Soyuz, which in March delivered the crewmates they'll be leaving behind, Drew Feustel, Ricky Arnold, and Oleg Artemiev. They also packed up and waved goodbye to 2 SpaceX Dragons, 1 Progress, and the Soyuz that took home Mark Vande Hei, Joe Akaba, and Alexander Misurkin, who were at the space station when Tingle, Kanai, and Shkaplerov arrived. All 3 of the astronauts landing today were also able to participate in spacewalks during their time at the space station. Tingle's was in January and lasted 7 hours and 24 minutes. Shkaplerov's was on February 2nd and lasted 8 hours and 13 minutes, which was a Russian duration record. And also because it was his second spacewalk, he now has spent a total of 14 hours and 28 minutes working outside the space station. And Kanai's spacewalk was on February 16th. It lasted 5 hours and 57 minutes. For Tingle and Kanai, this was their first space flight, so they'll each return home with 168 days as their total time spent in space. And for Shkaplerov, this is his 3rd mission. However, he will now have a total of 532 days in space, putting him at 17 on the all-time list for most time spent in space, tied with Mikhail Turin. Now 10 minutes away from today's undocking, which is scheduled to take place at 4:16 a.m. Central Time. That will be the next step in the scheduled 7:40 a.m. in Central Time landing of Scott Tingle, Norishika Kanai, and Anton Shkaplerov. Again, that's coming up in a little less than 10 minutes now, and that will get the crew on target for that 7:40 a.m. Central Time touchdown in Kazakhstan on the southeast of Jeskazgan.
Астрей, минута до выдачи команды Р-17.
Astray, 1 minute remaining until R-17 command needs to be issued. Okay. Okay, I confirm. And we're going to check that once again. Item 2, student power E5 is illuminated, BVS ready is illuminated, DPO K1 selection is illuminated, DPO K2 selection is illuminated, and I'm about to issue R-17 command in a few seconds here. And we currently have the TVS display. At 12:07, a closed M transmission has been issued. Confirm. And I'm activating display plus TV. Display plus TV is on. I'm selecting approach display. F-44. Command is armed. 25 seconds remaining. 15 seconds. Confirm. 5 seconds.
Here we go.
At 12:08, E2 command has been sent, and but all three angular rate sensors are illuminated. KDU repressed illuminated, accelerometer illuminated. We're switching to page 41. TV time is more. And the full screen mode is on. At F-44, mate is illuminated, and I'm standing by for EKV inhibit. Copy. And I'm issuing normal parameters. Schedule parameters are nominal. Copy.
Five minutes to go now until the undocking of Soyuz MS-07 with Scott Tingle, Norashiga Kanai, and Anton Shkaplerov inside. Crew continuing to work through their procedures that lead up to that undocking. Once the command is given, it takes about 90 seconds for the hooks holding the vehicle to the station to actually open and push it away.
correctly.
So the command will be given at 4:15 a.m. Central Time, and then undocking should take place at 4:16.
Yes, I see it. Okay. R8 command, you can go ahead and send it now. Okay, R8 command is sent. R8, yes, send. R8 command has been sent. And I have not indicate the mode, GSO maneuver, GSO not attitude, I have not seen it yet. And the KDU parameters, the IP maker.
Астрей, также необходимо выдать команду
Asтрey, KDU parameters are nominal. And the R5 command needs to be sent now. Okay. R5 command, we're sending it now. AGC mode. Okay, it has been sent. Copy. And what about the lights? Headlights, is it on? Yes, we are ready to activate headlights. We're switching to document interface transfer system display, SSVP. S17 headlight. Ready? Ready to send the command. Okay, headlight is on. And in 2 minutes, I will be ready to activate SSVP by sending D7 command. D2 is not illuminated. S17 is not illuminated, okay? Which is SSVP backup. Moscow, do you confirm 12:14 for D7? 1.5 minutes. Yes, we confirm. Okay.
Just 2 minutes to go now until the undocking command is sent for the Soyuz to begin backing away from the International Space Station. It will take about 90 seconds for it to actually undock. So the undocking should take place at 4:16 a.m. Central Time.
D7 command is armed. 40 seconds remaining. 35 seconds.
выдачи.
20 seconds remaining prior to D7 command execution. 15 seconds. Five seconds. Okay. The command has been sent. Moscow at 12:14:00. D7 command has been sent for SSVP. Is illuminated. D11, D15 illuminated. G17 is illuminated. S13 illuminated. And mechanical
Undocking command for the Soyuz has been sent, and now we should be seeing it back away in about 90 seconds.
And D17 needs to be armed. It is armed now. 20 seconds remaining.
We have to take up.
10. Okay. 5 seconds. Sending it now. Moscow, this is Astra 1 at 12:15:00. MS-17 command has been sent. Hooks are open. Is not eliminated. D-15 not eliminated. S-13 not eliminated. S-11 transfer hatch is eliminated. Switching to page 42. We're standing by for mechanical.
Team here in the Mission Control Center in Houston confirming that the hooks holding Soyuz to the space station are driving and beginning to release the Soyuz, and we should again see it begin backing away, which will be the time we use for its official undocking.
And per hour go, in approximately 1 minute, you will need to send it after the undock. Which command? R7. Copy. Just arm this command right now, so after undock, after separation, and for now, on the SSVP display, okay, which I have open in front of me. Okay, a mechanical connection the indication is off, not eliminated. SSVP mode has been executed. Okay, looking at the stopwatch now. Moscow, 12:16:40. And so I'm seeing the physical separation. I confirm GSO 1-2 in attitude 1-2 arm R7 command. I'll put it in work now.
And as you can see, Soyuz MS-07 now backing away from the International Space Station. That undocking happened right on schedule at 4:16 a.m. Central Time, as the space station and Soyuz were over Mongolia.
Mode is off. And I confirm GSO in attitude and separation of the Soyuz from ISS. R7 executed. And I am monitoring using wide angle, switching to page 43. Okay, 43. 1 minute has elapsed.
That 4:16 undocking officially wraps up the Expedition 55 time at the International Space Station. NASA's Scott Tingle, Japan Aerospace Exploration Agency's Norishige Kanai, and Roscosmos's Anton Shkaplerov spent 166 days on board the station since their docking to the Rosvet module on December 19th. And again, that undocking came at 4:16 a.m. Central Time, 253 miles above Mongolia. Soyuz now in attitude control, no longer relying on the space station to orient in space, and at just another minute or so, we'll be seeing the first separation burn. That'll last 8 seconds and move the Soyuz away at a rate of about 1.2 miles per hour.
2 minutes elapsed. Once we're at 3 minutes, at the stopwatch. Okay, stopwatch, 3 minutes. Thrusters will be on for 8 seconds. Fifteen seconds prior to depot activation.
Great view here of the Soyuz from the cameras on board the International Space Station as it's moving away from the Rosvet module, which it just undocked from. Again at 4:16 a.m. Central Time.
Depot operation. Copy. 5 seconds. And in 8 seconds, the approach and attitude control thrusters operation is off. VSCAR maneuver. I'm monitoring the maneuver. GSO in attitude is off.
First separation burn that lasted 8 seconds, done now, and another one coming up to last 15 seconds. That'll increase the speed to 3.4 miles per hour compared to the International Space Station. All this, again, getting it ready to get to a sufficient distance from the space station so that the deorbit burn can be performed at 6:47 a.m. Central.
General Gusto. In 20 seconds, I'm standing by for DPO activation for 15 seconds. Copy? 10 seconds prior to DPO activation. Copy? I confirm DPO operation. The indicator is illuminated 5 seconds.
Second separation burn now beginning. Again, that'll last 15 seconds.
15. DPO operation is off, is not illuminated. And I'm monitoring. I keep left command matrix, left field.
And that second burn now complete. Everything looking good as the Soyuz continues moving further away from the International Space Station. Inside we have NASA's astronaut Scott Tingle, Japan Aerospace Exploration Agency's Norishige Kanai, and Roscosmos cosmonaut Anton Shkaplerov, who will be the commander for the Soyuz today. With the 4:16 a.m. Central Time undocking, that gets us on target for deorbit burn coming up at 6:47 a.m. Central Time.
A11 and A13. I'm sending A11 now. Okay, it has been sent. And the PO K1, K2 is not illuminated. D8 on SSVP. D8 command executed. Monitoring. D11, D17, G17 not illuminated. S11. Is not illuminated as well. Okay, deactivate the Vizir Pechal by sending V18 command. Okay, has been executed. It's not illuminated. Okay, it is not illuminated. And go ahead and deactivate the headlight by sending S18 command. Okay, route, translational hand controller in still position. Headlight is not illuminated. Okay, copy. And we keep monitoring. And you can go ahead and stow route. In insert configuration.
With that successful 4:16 undocking from the space station, we're getting a few questions about what happens next from people using the Ask NASA hashtag. This one coming from Thunderous Thon 2, asking what's the total time it takes for the Soyuz from the time it leaves the space station to when it lands on Earth. And since it undocked at 4:16 and we're expecting it to land at 7:40, if you do the math, that means that it takes just a little under 3.5 hours to get from the space station back to the landing site in Kazakhstan. And then that leads us to another question, this one also from Twitter, coming from Tejas 2020, asking where is the Soyuz going to land. And we have a map that we can show you to give you a little bit more information on that. The Soyuz always lands in Kazakhstan, in an unpopulated area on the steppes of Kazakhstan, this time southeast of Zhezkazgan. And you can also see that it'll be passing over Baikonur, which, in addition to being kind of in the ballistic landing region, or a little above it, is where the next crew scheduled to come to the space station is preparing for launch right now.
Command, Moscow. Yes, you're going to send GF4 command from input 2. Okay, I'm going to send it from input control panel 2. GF4 command, transmit display is deactivated. The command has been sent. And TV mode to on is. Should I put it in work? Yes.
You can see how quickly the Soyuz is moving away from the International Space Station, having just undocked at 4:16. Now, 10 minutes later, it's basically a dot in the distance from this view of a camera on board the International Space Station. It's continuing to move away, and in the interest of getting into place for its 6:47 a.m. Central Time deorbit burn.
Well, it switched to green. Copy. So can I depress the transmission button? So is it 1 hour remaining before the next set of dynamic ops? Well, yes, about 1 hour.
Да, Антон.
Yes, Anton.
У нас действительно время до начала спуска.
We still have some time prior to descent, and you can go ahead and send K11 command. Astray is Moscow. Astray, how do you read me? Moscow, do you read us? Yes, we read you loud and clear. Come again. Is it K11? RRG at 4 degrees? Okay, confirm. Okay.
RRG now in the 4 degrees mode. K11 is eliminated. Copy.
Now that the Soyuz has undocked, the International Space Station is moving back into its post-undocking attitude or orientation in space. Soyuz continuing to move out, getting ever smaller, as you can see from this view from cameras on board the space station. Everything continuing to go well as the crew members have been moving through their post-undocking procedures. We've had 2 successful engine firings that increase the distance between it and the International Space Station. And now it's got about 2 hours and 15 minutes to finish getting in place for the deorbit burn scheduled for 6:47 a.m. Central Time. Now that the Soyuz is on its own, you can get a good idea here of how much space the crew has to work within while they're inside the Soyuz. This is in particular the descent module of the Soyuz, which before it returns to Earth will be breaking away from the other 2 portions of the Soyuz. And it's what actually returns to Earth with 3 crew members inside. The Soyuz commander, who in this case is Anton Shkaplerov, sits in the center with Flight Engineer 1, in this case that's Scott Tingle, on the left side, and Flight Engineer 2, Norishige Kanai, on the right side. You can see it's a pretty small space, so luckily the crew members don't have to be confined to it for very long. They are scheduled to land at 7:40 a.m. Central Time today, so that's just a little over 3 hours from now. Now that the Soyuz MS-07 has safely backed away from the International Space Station following its 4:16 a.m. Central Time undocking, we're going to take a break in our coverage, and we'll be back at 6:15 a.m. Central and stay on for the rest of the morning's activities, starting with the deorbit burn, which will be at 6:47 a.m. Central. That'll drop the Soyuz out of orbit and set it on course for a 7:40 a.m. Central landing in Kazakhstan. So we'll be back at 6:15 a.m. Central for the final leg of Scott Tingle, Norishige Kanai, and Anton Shkaplerov's journey back to Earth. This is Mission Control Houston.